Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
Hi, this is Knox from the Popcast with Knox and Jamie. And maybe like us at the Popcast, you also know people who have been smokers or vapors. And Zyn is the one product it seems like everyone is talking about. Because there are many good reasons to make a change to Zyn nicotine pouches. Reasons like Zyn nicotine pouches are still America's #1 choice for smoke-free, hands-free nicotine satisfaction. And you can choose between 10 varieties, each variety available in either 3 or 6 milligrams. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplisafe.com/podcast. That's simplisafe.com/podcast for 50% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplisafe.com/podcast. That's simplisafe.com/podcast for 50% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to day 15 of 31 days of Halloween. I've got 3 spooky stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? Faceless Thing in the Woods. I'm sharing my experience as I've only recently discovered the crawler classification, and at the time of my experience, I couldn't find anything online that matched what I saw. For context, I am and always have been a non-smoker / drinker, and not on any prescription medication or anything. Being a country girl, I've spent tons of time in the woods, fishing, camping, 4x4ing, and having bonfires. I've had my fair share of creepy experiences in the woods, but this incident has stuck with me. It was on my grandmother's property, which is in a very rural location, basically at the end of a dirt road, deep in a valley. On her property, it forks into 2, and there is a standard-sized home on the right side, and a few acres across to the left, a small guest cottage that I was living in at the time. Having spent years growing up out there myself, around bears and coyotes. I would say I was fearless. My grandmother lived alone while I was living at her cottage, and I would walk across the property every evening with a flashlight to check in on her, since she has a heart condition. And there was hardly any phone service to phone call, so I made a routine of checking in with her before late evening. Now, since her last family dog passed away, she never had dogs again. And with that came more and more animals coming onto the property. So I'd often run into deer, coyotes, even moose sometimes. She has a pond on the property, so it's basically a water source for everything. I was on my way walking over to her house, and I would always flash my light in the tree line that goes along my path to check for wildlife. Every night she would see me coming and turn on her outside porch light, and we would meet there for a quick chat before going to bed. There were no noises or signs of anything at all this evening. Usually I could sense if anything was around and hear twigs snap or leaves rustle or rocks roll down the hill, even splashing in the creek or pond. I made it to her wooden porch and we had a little chat as usual, and I made my way back towards the cottage for the night. I was about halfway across the property when I just felt like something was watching me. I stopped completely and stayed still for a while, shining my flashlight down the driveways on the property, around the cottage, the pond, around my grandmother's house, basically scanning everywhere. I got goosebumps. It was eerie silent, and I knew something was there. I then turned the light to the trees right beside me, about 10 feet away from me, and somewhat behind a pine tree is this thing. My light first caught the legs. I could see it was a pale white colour with no hair whatsoever. I couldn't see the feet, as it was kind of standing behind the tree peeking out from the other side. I thought it was some hairless animal or something at first. It was tall, taller than me easily by 3 or 4 feet. I shone the flashlight at its head as soon as I realised how big this thing was. The first thing I noticed was it had no face or facial features. I was freaking out and froze in shock. It wouldn't move. It was so tall next to the tree that my brain tried to convince me that maybe it was a mountain lion with no hair, standing upright on its hind legs, maybe about to climb the tree or something. But it had no eyes, no tail, no ears, no hair. It was humanly in shape. After staring at it for another 20 to 30 seconds, and realising there was no way in hell it was any animal at all, I bolted across the property back to the cottage as fast as I could, basically running for my life. I would still go out at night to check on my grandmother, but only before dark after that. I still have no idea what it was, and when I tried to find anything similar online, I didn't find much. I never saw the thing again. But a few weeks later, in the middle of the night, something smashed in the glass sliding patio door in the living room of the cottage while we were sleeping. It was so scary. We heard tons of creepy sounds outside the house, but we couldn't figure out what had happened. We had to use every piece of furniture we had in the cottage to barricade the smashed glass door, which was now a gaping hole in our home. Even after making a makeshift wall of things to cover the hole, we didn't sleep that night. I was so scared that a predator was going to come back and get into the house. We had a 6-month-old baby in the house at the time too. My grandmother had to order a new glass sliding door and frame that would take 2 months to arrive. We had to move out, and I don't live out there anymore, but my grandmother still does. I have occasionally considered moving back out there, but I have 2 small children now, and honestly, I get scared thinking about moving back after what happened. We still visit often, but now can't help but feel like a sort of creepy atmosphere on the property. I always worry about my grandmother, who is still alone and out there. Her neighbours are too far from her acreage to see or hear anything that happens at her place. This all sounds very lovely, like a lovely place to live, bar the creature in the woods. But, checking in on Grandma to make sure she's okay, it just sounds very idyllic, doesn't it? Apart from, like I said, the creature in the woods. Kind of sounds like a rape, but I think they're meant to be furry or hairy. So I'm not really sure what it is at all, but terrifying. And I think that was the best decision, to go before dark. Go before dark time, before you see the creature in the woods, and check on Grandma. Are you ready for the second story? The mirror in room 313. A night I'll never forget. I've always been sceptical about ghosts and the paranormal. But what happened to me in a hotel room outside Charleston, South Carolina, changed my mind. In fall 2022, I was travelling for work and ended up staying in this old colonial-style hotel. It was charming in a way, creaky floors, antique furniture, but definitely showed its age. They assigned me room 313, and though I joked about the number being unlucky, the front desk clerk didn't seem amused. The first sign something was off came that very first night. While brushing my teeth, I noticed the bathroom mirror's reflection was strange. It didn't line up perfectly with my movements. When I waved my hand, the reflection responded with a faint delay, like it was a second behind me. I thought it might just be the trick of lighting or my tired eyes, so I ignored it. Later at 2:39 a.m, I woke up suddenly, chilled to the bone. The heater was silent and the room was freezing cold, far colder than I had left it. Then, from the bathroom, I heard slow tapping on the mirror, like fingernails lightly drumming on glass. When the tapping stopped, I heard the faucet turn on. I was sure I had turned everything off before bed, so I got up to check. The cold water was running and the mirror was fogged up, even though no hot water had been on. On the glass, there was a small, smudged handprint, like a child's hand. The bathroom lights flickered once, and the air felt heavy and wrong. I backed away, afraid, and stayed up the rest of the night, sitting in the chair with the main room light on until dawn. I checked out first thing in the morning. The front desk clerk didn't ask why. I think she already knew. Later, I found a review online warning others not to stay in room 313 because the mirror isn't a mirror. I'm still not sure what I experienced, but that night made me realise some things might be beyond explanation. That would so freak me out to see my reflection not behaving as I am. There's something just terrifying about that. And like in the past, even when I was in my 20s, I used to look in the mirror and think, what if I just like my reflection started doing something entirely different. Terrifying. It's a bit like that movie. Is it You, Them, Us? I don't know. Us, that's it. When the mirror image just comes out into the real world. And that is just so uncomfortable. Are you ready for the third and final story? I lived in a haunted apartment for a year. In 2018, my best friend's girlfriend and her roommate both wanted to sublease their apartment. Their explanation was simply that they were moving one town over. I was actively apartment hunting at that time, and I really loved the apartment layout and the neighbourhood. The same night I found out they wanted to sublease, I agreed to take over the apartment and even got a roommate secured. The next day, I went over to the apartment to talk logistics of the swap. At one point, the roommate of my friend's girlfriend mentioned they frequently heard banging in the kitchen, cabinet doors slamming shut, and appliances on the counters moving. My friend's girlfriend looked at her and said, "Shut up," while giving her that look of, "What are you doing?" My dumbass simply didn't take it seriously. I'd been to the apartment for parties multiple times and never got a bad vibe. A week later, I moved in with my friend and her girlfriend, so 3 of us living together. I don't remember how soon it was after we moved in that scary stuff started happening. But we had incidents several times a week for all 12 months. I have a Labrador who was 7 at the time. I've had him since he was a puppy, so I was very familiar with his normal behaviour. While in this apartment, he would growl while staring at areas that were dark. He growled at dark corners a lot while we were there. It wasn't neighbours or anything. When we were in the living room, we would hear kitchen cabinets slamming shut and the sound of things moving around on the kitchen counters. I usually left my bedroom door open. When we would be cooking in the kitchen, we would hear what sounded like someone slapping the hangers in my closet. I usually have the closet door open too. That experience happened at least once or twice a week. There was a time we came home and found just about everything in our living room moved around. I like to keep things neat and in their place. That's how the apartment was when we left. But when we came home, it literally looked like someone was hanging out on the couch playing video games. Nothing was missing, so we didn't think someone broke in. We called the 2 girls that lived there before, but they hadn't been over and gave us the only keys. There was a night I was laying on the couch watching TV. The only light on was the hallway light. I saw a tall, dark shadow walk across the hallway entrance, moving towards my bedroom. I slept on the couch that night because of how creeped out I was. There was a night I was asleep in my bedroom and I was woken up by my dog growling at the closet. There was a full moon that night, so the room was lit up pretty well. He started with a light growl that gradually got louder. The hair on his back was standing straight up. His stare never broke from the open closet. Soon after, he started to bark. Then he laid his body on top of mine. This is another example of me being familiar with his behaviour. Never, in his 7 years of life, had he ever put himself on top of me. Even if I tried to lay him on me, he would always immediately move, as if he thought he was too heavy or something. In that moment, he was barking at my closet and laying his body on me. I was convinced something was in my room, and he was gradually getting more protective as it got closer to me. I was freaking out internally, but I stayed calm and texted my best friend as everything happened. The whole ordeal lasted about 30 minutes. The last thing I'll share happened right before we moved out. It sure as heck felt like a grand finale too. I got home from work at 11 p.m. one night. As soon as I walked in, I noticed my roommate's door was open a few inches. They were both at work, and I knew they always left their door shut. I took my dog for a walk, and when I came back in, their door was now open halfway. My body got hot with fear, thinking someone must have broken in and is still in the apartment. I called them to see when they would be home while I sat on a chair in the living room that was inches away from the sliding patio door. Fortunately, they were only 10 to 15 minutes away. While sitting there silent to try and hear any movement that would confirm an intruder, I heard the long vertical blinds of the patio door move as if someone had slapped them. When my head turned to the noise as a reflex, I saw the curtain to that patio door moved about 2 feet forward. This was just inches from my right arm. I knew the door was closed and locked, and I knew there was maybe 3 inches between that curtain and the glass sliding door. So it would be physically impossible for a person to be behind it. I ran outside and waited for them. We checked everywhere, and there was no intruder. I left out a few other times things have been moved around when we were gone. The activity was just constant. What's funny to me is we never considered moving out, because at the end of the day, we still liked the apartment and the neighbourhood. We just did our best to ignore everything. That's the end. Thanks for reading.
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplysafe.com/podcast. That's simplysafe.com/podcast for 50% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Now, I must say, I think that they did extremely well just to try and ignore the activity. I'm not sure I'd be as brave. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat in real life, and if I heard things and my dog was growling and all that kind of stuff, I don't think I'd be able to stay there, or there's no way I'd be able to stay there on my own. But that's it for me today. I hope you enjoy, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
Hi, this is Knox from the podcast with Knox and Jamie. And maybe like us at the podcast, you also know people who have been smokers or vapors. And Zen is the one product it seems like everyone is talking about. Because there are many good reasons to make a change to Zen nicotine pouches. Reasons like Zen nicotine pouches are still America's #1 choice for smoke-free, hands-free nicotine satisfaction. And you can choose between 10 varieties, each variety available in either 3 or 6 milligrams. Check out zen.com/find to find Zen at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.